Wizards of the Coast and a secret lair failure that they actually admit. And then, of course, in this video, we've got to talk about Spider-Man. And is it the right time to jump in and grab some cards? Stay tuned. We have a lot to cover for today's video. Wizards of the Coast admitting a mistake is like the sky is falling for real, because I don't remember the last time I saw it happen. And Spider-Man, well, it's something we just need to keep talking about. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out today for another video. Now, we're going to start out this video with, of course, the announcement by Wizards of the Coast, the mistake that was made. And it's a really big deal for a lot of people to see this actually appear. I mean, we got nothing like this at 30th anniversary. How many players remember watching that live stream where they announced 30th anniversary, power cards coming back and stuff in special packages that they said they would never reprint, and you could look at Rosewater's face? The man was shrinking as he sat in that chair, almost as if he didn't really believe it was happening himself. No apologies. No whoops, we made a mistake. Nothing. Just dead air and a lack of sales. Now, Wizards of the Coast put this announcement up, and I think it's something that's really important to focus on, so we're going to take a look at that first. Now, for many people out there who like secret lairs, there's sometimes secret lairs are better than others, and it looks like this one struck a chord with a lot of people. Back to the drawing board with Secret Lair X Monster Hunter. This was done out on November 26, 2025. Let's cut to the chase. The Secret Lair X Monster Hunter Super Drop we revealed last week fell short of expectations. We heard you loud and clear that you were disappointed. And we believe we can do better. So we're going to postpone the release and rework this Super Drop entirely. Like many of you, we're big fans of Monster Hunter. It's why we put this Super Drop together, but in our excitement, we missed the mark on elements like card selection and faithfully integrating the world of mechanics of Monster Hunter. As a result, the overall construction of this Super Drop is not up to the standard you have come to expect. Pulling Super Drops back isn't something we're going to do very often. We're committed to doing better though, and Capcom is on board for us to take another swing at this Super Drop. Yeah, they were probably actually really mad at you. We're going to pull this one back. We're going to share details and the updated release date in a few months. Keep your eye out for more information in 2026. Now, for anyone who doesn't really know Monster Hunter, I remember it somewhere around PlayStation 2. It was like a Japanese style thing, and you had to like get gear and stuff to defeat monsters, and you got better and better. It fits great with Magic with the old artifact thing, if I recall correctly. I think I played it on PlayStation 2, maybe PlayStation 3, but I think that's as far as I went. I mean, I moved on to other things, but there's a lot of fans of this franchise. I believe the last release was done out in 2025 some point, which is probably why they're doing this Super Drop. Can you imagine what Capcom is feeling right now? Wizard of the Coast purchased the IP to put this together, and basically they got slashed and burned by everyone. And I heard this over and over, not only in private messages, Discord, as well as email. I didn't think it was a huge thing because I've seen Wizards make this mistake before, but I've never seen this kind of visceral reaction where it's like it actually took effect. Wizards backed down, and now we are where we are. Now, like I just stated earlier in the video where we talked about 30th anniversary, there was no apology for that. Whereas this one, it's like, hey, we're sorry. Which is probably them saying sorry to Capcom as well for this whole debacle. Crazy stuff. And I think it's good to see that when players stick together on things, we can come out ahead. Kind of like the D&D fans when they like mass revolted over having to pay for everything. Great day. I think it's a great day. You guys will agree or disagree. And although I like the artwork, I remember seeing the cards appear. I enjoyed the artwork. I thought it looked great. But I agree that a lot of it wasn't really put together well. And I don't think the cards were the greatest selections. So let's see if they can do better. I wonder if they'll create some like personalized cards that haven't existed before just to make up for it. Like cards you're only going to see in this Secret Lair drop. Because I have talked about that before, that it'd be a fantastic thing. Now, this of course is not the only thing going on in the world of Magic the Gathering. Anyone and everyone who has been following Spider-Man has seen what has happened to those sealed boxes. The fact we are seeing these things appear on sale already here in Canada, the US, basement bargain prices, man, to get a collector box. But how have the singles been holding up? How are the boxes actually doing? This is where things get a little bit more of a different, lane. You have the lane that says it's negative, nobody likes it, we don't really care. Every card, it's just horrible. Then you have the other side where it's like the sales tell you something. The cheaper the product's going, the more sales are starting to appear. And that is something to take note of. Because if any of these cards reverse, it's going to get crazy. Here, first, let's take a look at this. Now here I'm sharing with you an average price for Spider-Man right now in Canada that's not on sale for Black Friday. This is just $699.95. That puts it at around, somewhere around $525 US, which we all know is the wrong price, okay? I have that image up here for a reason. We'll get there. That's the price it was going for right at release. Now on sale, this box is down to about $450 US here in Canada. And I know you can see it online on TCG Player for around $389 to $390, give or take. It might still be falling by the time you've watched this video. But I want to focus here on something in the singles. You can see here the Soul Stone. It's the most expensive card inside the set still, okay? In terms of just a regular card that you could open. We're not talking about the Thanos Stone from the Collector Edition, or heaven forbid if you happen to find the Cosmic Foil. That's still a very expensive card, absolutely. But when we look at the cards, you look at Gwen Stacy, the different versions, you look at Gwen Venom, right, the Remorseless, that's like a $10 card. Do you remember that was $50? Multiversal Passage, down to like $8, $9. When you look at the overall grid of Spider-Man's prices, not only is it falling, it's falling so fast that you would think everyone hates it. And that's where you're all wrong. It's not about hate. The product can have a negative connotation attached to it for what it represented, but that doesn't mean the singles aren't selling. When I checked out multiple local retailers, and I got a few from the US in time for this video, many of these cards are completely sold out. You can't buy Gwen Venom. You can't buy Eddie Brock. Many of these cards dropped so low, they got bought as soon as they dropped below a certain level that players wanted to get their hands on them. We also have that side path where it's like, I paid too much, so I'm not going to sell the card. And those players didn't turn the product in. Spider-Man, though, is about to have its Black Friday sales. We know that with the collector boxes being as cheap, there's a new interest in buying boxes and having more purchasing power, thinking you're getting kind of half price off. Because we know those boxes for a while were at $1,000 before they dropped down. So now that they've dropped down and dropped down again, they look pretty enticing to a certain segment of Magic Gathering population, and we're seeing more product opened. So yes, we're going to see more singles come into the market, but that doesn't mean they're going to end up at a local retailer because there's no value. And it's not that the cards aren't good. They're highly playable, but they have no value to turn in. And when cards have no secondary market value, players almost never turn their cards in when it's a 50 cent. They say, no, this card used to be like $25. Now it's 50 cents. I will wait and see what happens in the next few years. They just say it's not worth it. I've done this hundreds of times over my career. I said, I'm not going to put those 50-cent cards in. There's no point. I'm just going to hold on to those. They'll find a home in a deck somewhere. We'll have some, whatever reason you may have, but it's going to happen. So now we have a market where the price is lowering, so sales are increasing. But the cards still have such low value that nobody's really turning them in. I mean, Gwen Venom for less than $10, that's a Bolas Citadel, right? Like, that's an active creature that could let you draw from the top of your library. Like, it's part of a win con condition. Less than $10. Multiversal Passage can go anywhere to get the job done. This is amazing cards inside the set. Not every card, but there are some key pieces that are going to have value going down the road. And there are players out there who recognize that value. They believe they see something. They are grabbing onto it and holding on to cards. And certain cards have been started to be bought up in bulk because they are so cheap. People are holding on. And they're thinking with the upcoming sets that there's going to be some synergy connected, especially with the next Marvel set. This is something to consider because with the prices as cheap as they are, it might be time. This might be the moment where the average player should dive in and buy some. Pick some things up really cheap. Buy a box on sale for $70 US. Because I still feel they have such an overstock of this product, it's unlikely to ever see a mass reproduction. They're not going to go, let's reprint the out of this thing, man. No, it's not going to happen. They're going to do small reprints, if at all, depending on how much was printed in the first release. This leaves a whole weird market going on that I wonder what will happen with some of these cards down the road and who is really going to benefit from buying some of these things at this time when the prices are as low as they are. Either way, Anyone who hates Spider-Man is still going to hate on it, but the people who will flip for money, the players that need cards for standard, this is their moment to get really cheap, good cards at a fraction of the price that they used to be at. I mean, I looked at all those prices just like you guys, and Gwen Venom for less than $10, Multiversal Passage, Gwen Stacy. You don't have to get the fancy versions, just get a base version. You've got some competitive cards. Guys, I need to know what you're thinking. We need to talk about this in the comment section. Would this interest you to buy cards this cheap? Or do you already own them? Are you holding on to them like I think a lot of people are? And how much new stock will come to market when the prices are this low? I think players will buy it. I think they're going to open it. But I don't think it's going to show up at a store near you as turned in stock that you get to buy. You guys let me know in the comment section. Thanks again for hanging out. And Wizards of the Coast being wrong, we got to mark this one on the calendar. Players just scored a point. Sticking together, people. Have a great one. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for stopping into the channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And it's always at the end of the video like this where we see all the patrons showing up, the supporters of the channel. Some have been here for 5+ years. That's the legacy board you'll see at the end of this video. But I want to take a moment to thank all of you. Thank you for supporting the daily uploaded content that we make. Yes. Yes. Welcome back to the end of the video, and yes is the answer. The question? No, you should already know the question. When I see cards that cheap for Spider-Man, it does grab my attention. I've seen too many cards flip in the long run for MTG Finance to ignore that some of these cards are going to find homes, especially in Commander. And they're unlikely to get a reprint for the next 2 to 4 years, which means they can glide up in value over time, especially when things cycle out. It's just one of those things that happens all the time. A lot of players ignore it and then complain after it happens. I hate it. I know how people feel, but sometimes you got to take that opportunity and say, is this a card I want to play? Is this a card I think is going to have some gameplay later on, or something I could trade into later? Do I think it'll hold enough value that maybe it's worth something? That's where a lot of players go sometimes, and a lot of players ignore. I'm one of those players who likes to go for it. So yes, I'm looking at Spider-Man cards as something to hold on to. There are cards I think are worth getting, and it's not just the Soul Stone. Gwen Venom for less than $10 looks pretty tidy to me. Guys, have a great one. This Ramble Jamble is brought to you by coffee that I drank a little too quickly during this live conversation here, but I don't edit. And I got the hiccups. So let that be a lesson.